Welcome to Spacevidcast episode 2.29 for Friday, July. I just make up months, don't I? It's like twice in a row. Friday, September 18th, 2009. Where did July come from?
Wishful thinking? I'm never really sure.
You know, one more episode, we'll have done 30 episodes. Oh, you noob! Someone left their cell phone on. Wow. My name is Benjamin Higginbotham. With me is the incredibly gorgeous, wonderfully talented.
He's trying to
mix it up. Carrie Ann Higginbotham, the Astro wife, as it were. And we've got an action-packed episode for you. We're going to be talking about the Northrop Grumman Lunar Lander Challenge in the back half of the show. But before we get into that, we should... Ooh, did I put the space news open back in there? I don't think I did.
Probably not.
Yeah, so space news. There you go. The first one is the Space Shuttle Flight Sim. And you had actually originally thought that they'd put it on Facebook, but they just have a group on Facebook.
Yeah, well, you know, Carrie Ann did her Carrie Ann thing and was talking about the solar flares that they put on the ISS and how she wants to have the engine of one of the shuttles as, you know, a coffee table. So I thought somehow, magically, while counting to potato, that they put a flight sim on Facebook.
1, 2, potato.
1, 2, potato.
Yep. So there's the cool graphic. That's actually a desktop background. And you can get that on their website at www.space-shuttle-mission.com. And it's actually a pretty cool space shuttle flight sim. And they got really neat videos up there. I was going to grab the videos, but they were really low resolution, and I wasn't sure if they were copyright free. So I decided to err on the side of caution for that. But you can certainly go to space-shuttle-mission.com and you can check that out. It is a really cool flight simulator.
Yeah, no, it is. So they have a fan page on Facebook, which was like the big announcement. I went to like 3 or 4 different websites and they were all like, "Hey, Space Shuttle Flight Sim 2007." You know.
Tactile Mobius has used it, and it's very realistic. And when I looked at the videos, actually, the graphics did look amazingly realistic. And
Just
it looks like you can even fly like STS-1, where the external tank is white as opposed to the, you know, sun-bathed orange color.
Right, because the color matters when you're flying.
It's details like that for space nerds like me who, you know, would get upset if it wasn't. China, seriously, we're going to, next story, we're going to have, in Space Race 2.0, we're going to have a big, huge headbutting with China, I think.
In Space Race 2.0, USA is going to take its tail between its legs and go cry in a corner.
Maybe. Keep in mind, NASA is still the world's, what makes up more than 50% of all the other space organizations other than military combined, right?
Yeah,
so,
for now.
So they have and now there are politics associated with NASA, but you know, they still have a good chunk of money, and money does go quite far. Now, having said that, NASA is building their fourth.
No.
NASA. China, wow, you know what? This is going to be a rough one.
Yep.
China is building their fourth spaceport.
Now, this is not a human flight spaceport. That I think should be, you know.
Yeah, but whether that's relevant, I mean, it's another spaceport.
Right, and where it is, it's way down.
China.
It's in China, yes. But they are actually moving like 3,000 people to. They're just transplanting them.
Yeah, but they can do that.
I know. I know. China's huge. I know, and it's nice because of where it is. It's 19 degrees above the equator, I believe, is what it is, like the latitude or whatever. Whatever. Listen to me. Anyway.
So it's pretty close to the equator.
It's very close to the equator, and it's right off of the water. It does already have a port there. So, I mean, they are rip-roaring ready to go. They already have a small satellite launch pad there.
It's just like a little, like, there you go.
Right, but so they're making like a bigger one, a supplemental, and, you know, clearing out the space.
But it's interesting that they're continuing to invest in new spaceports. Now, while we're adding spaceports to America, for example, Spaceport America, just going to throw that out there. That's not government owned, I don't believe. Now, I say that, but it might be the state of New Mexico that owns part of that, actually. However, it's not a NASA spaceport.
Ew.
Is kind of my point.
Right.
Is the government-owned space program isn't? It's not part of that. So
Right.
this is a government-owned Chinese spaceport in China.
Right.
And that's gonna. It's interesting to me that we are no longer building spaceports. Now maybe we don't need to because we built them all in the '60s, but
Right.
we're not putting any more oomph into that infrastructure, and we're
they're
just
building their fourth.
Yeah, speaking of, I'm going to ask the chat room really quick, and this isn't even on my schedule, but the Augustine Commission, the final report, I know they did the summary report. Wasn't that supposed to be out by now? I haven't heard anything about it. Have you?
We'll talk about that later.
Oh, why?
Yes, because a lot of, yes. Yes, thank you. The summary is
The summary's out. Yeah, the summary's out, but the
Final
full report
is
isn't.
later this month, yes.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be out by the 15th.
Well.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. All right. So Augustine Commission. To my point, which is the Augustine Commission will kind of dictate what's going to happen to our existing infrastructure. Are we going to start tearing it down and going forward with Ares, and or are we going to continue with the space shuttle program and not tear it down? Well, not necessarily space shuttle, but direct and things like that. Or
really
not
quickly, I
Shuttle-C.
did find it. The China spaceport is slated to go into use in 2013 and is located at a latitude of about 19 degrees north.
Oh, there you go.
So that's where they are, because I know that I said some stuff. And
Moving on. How would you like to spend $150 and get a space camera?
it's a near space camera.
Near space camera.
It's a
low
pictures
space
of
camera.
the space camera?
Subspace camera.
Isn't that what my Kodak does now? I got myself a
iPhone. It's so this group of
wrong?
a group of MIT students, I believe it is.
hardly even a group. It's like 2 guys or
Well,
3 guys.
that's group-esque.
It's group-esque.
It's group-esque. They sent a balloon up
Yep.
with a camera, and they had to protect the camera.
Yes.
And so, how'd they protect it?
With a beer cooler, which makes sense to me as far as they probably have them lying all around. They are college students, as a matter of fact, and and those hand warmers, those instant hand warmers.
Oh yes, because you got to keep it kind of warm.
Right, because when it goes up that far, yeah, very, very cool.
Yep.
This really is a really fun story. It's Project Icarus, which I'm sure BZ can tell us a little bit more
Oh, I
about.
didn't realize there was a video.
It's not really a video. It's more time lapse.
Well, we have a still picture of it. It looks like that was taken from the camera, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Right. So that for like $150,
Thank you, BZ.
they were able to take that picture.
And when I say beer cooler, I thought it was like beer cooler,
Mm-hmm.
like, locking and draining. Apparently it's just like a cute little styrofoam.
Like the ones you buy at like Target.
Yeah, like exactly. Like
That's so awesome.
The dollar, the dollar
Dollar store beer cooler.
Yeah, everything that they did, all of like the duct tape and anything and everything.
Duct tape, of course.
Right. Well, you have to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Oh
just,
yeah. Required.
just in case. Was only up to, they only spent $150, and they do have all of what I'm trying to say, like recipe, all of the things, all of the ingredients, all of the things that they use to make it. You can find it on their site.
So they've got a cookbook of how to build your own $150 space camera that you can send up and take, like that picture you saw.
Thank
Components.
you. All of the elements.
There
yes.
you go.
So whatchamacallit. But yeah, so you can make your own, which I think is very, very cool. And somebody asked about the FAA, if it was legal to,
Also known as the FA.
if you could send something up.
Just, ask forgiveness, not permission.
And there's something with the FAA that if it's under something like 26 pounds, you don't have to declare it for
That's
them.
interesting. What would happen if it was like going up and then it got sucked into a jumbo jet engine? That would
Then
be
they would have somebody to talk to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would be bad.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so that's yeah. But I thought that was very, very cool, and I like that they pretty much opened it up. There was one article that said that they were charging $150 for the detailed schematics and this, that, and the other, and they were like, no. Here, this is what it is, and they just list
We're just not going to
out
buy it for you.
Right, and it may cost you a little bit more because some of the stuff they clearly already had on hand. If you don't own duct tape, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't, you'll have to go buy some. That'll be a little extra charge.
Right. So your cost will probably be around $151.50.
Right. So,
So cool. The JAXA, the one and only JAXA,
there is only one.
The Japanese aerospace program, has launched the HTV. It's actually the H2 TV, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the H2 TV. No,
yeah, but
why am I blanking on that?
Yeah, but we just call it the HTV. See, it's as Space Kit Kat, it's the H2 transfer vehicle or the H2 TV,
yes.
but we call it the HTV. I don't know why.
And it's the HTV1 because there's going to be more of them.
It hurts.
H2 TV2.
Oh, it hurts my head. Anyhow, we launched. It grappled. They grappled. It didn't grapple. We grappled.
It was grappled.
And we've got some video of that. So check this out. I told you it was a still image, but it's actually a video. Go ahead and play that.
T-minus 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Main engine start.
Liftoff on the maiden flight of the H-2B rocket and a new cargo ship headed for the International Space Station.
HTV 技術実証機を搭載した H2B ロケット試験機は平成21年9月19日午前2時1分46秒種子島宇宙センターから打ち上げられました。
We had the liftoff of the HTV launch vehicle test flight with the HTV demonstration flight on board from the Tanegashima Space Center at 2:01:46 a.m. on September 11, 2009 Japan Standard Time. The launch marks the start of a new space era in Japan.
The HTV now in free drift. Five feet away. Standing by for capture of the H-2 transfer vehicle. Grapple confirmed. Good capture, 2:47 p.m. Central Time, 225 miles over western Romania. Using kid gloves, Nicole Stott has captured the Japanese H-2 transfer vehicle, culminating a flawless maiden flight. Stott continuing to work the procedures to rigidize the snares around the grapple fixture. Capture is now complete. Applause here in the flight control room. The HTV in the firm grasp of Canadarm2.
Down here. Thank you very much. It's a real example of international cooperation with a Japanese vehicle captured by a Canadian arm with an American and European astronaut with a safety guide from Canada and under the command of a Russian commander. It's really true international cooperation.
Couldn't agree more, Frank.
Houston, Scuba on Space Ground 2. We're all here, and we all just want to say congratulations to the entire team. We had an amazing time doing this, and we'll make it quick. I know we're going to lose KU, but we are so, so happy to have this beautiful vehicle here with us now, and we look very forward to going in tomorrow and finding all the surprises I'm sure you've stowed there for us. So we're going to raise our drink bags, our HTV Special Reserve drink bags. Okay, hopefully you caught that. And we're going to drink a special drink of our very special water here to all of you. And thanks again, and we really look forward to tomorrow.
My favorite part is where they're like, And we cheer. They do the cheers, but they lost their KU downlink.
Right.
So they're like, I hope you saw that. And we're like, no.
No.
And as they're
well.
saying in the chat room, they're drinking the special water. The
Special water. Yeah, is that the
caution
recycled
urine.
water?
The caution
The
urine
caution urine
water.
Yum.
So that was it. And now so that was a longer video for us. It was like 4 minutes. The interesting thing is that spanned like 5.5, 6 hours.
It was a ridiculously long amount of time.
Yeah,
It
so
felt
we
like
took out the best
forever.
parts, and there you go, right there. Best
Right.
4 minutes of that 6 hours,
Right.
here on Spacevidcast. When we come back, we'll be talking about the 2009 Northrop Grumman Lunar Lander Challenge. Armadillo has a little competition on their hands.
Nah.
Stay with us.
Hello and welcome to the Crow River Coffee Company in Watertown, Minnesota. Situated on the bank of the beautiful Crow River, we offer espresso drinks, delicious food, live music, bulk beans, and artisan items. You can see us at crowrivercoffee.com. Thanks!
Hi, this is Jeff with your Space Podcast asking for your questions. Why do we never see the backside of the moon? Will the sun become a black hole? Leave your questions in the comments section. Keep coming back to Spacevidcast to hear my answers.
And you know, we host Spacevidcasts in the back of a coffee shop. In fact, we host it in the back of Crow River Coffee. They're gracious enough to allow us to use their space. And as such, we have that awesome commercial that you see every week at the beginning of the break, as well as a coffee of the month. And this week's coffee of the month, really, Ben? Really? Wow. Thank you and good night. Roll the credits.
No.
What was it? Put it back up on the screen. I don't even remember what it was. I can't pronounce this. You got to pronounce this.
It's Ethiopian manhandling.
No, it's not.
Or
It's
Sumatra
Sumatra. That's not
manhandling.
Ethiopia. Jeez.
Whatever. Sumatra,
It's
Ethiopia.
that
it's
one.
all
Just
the
you know what?
same.
Screw it. Just go to crowrivercoffee.com and get yourself a bag. It's like $10.
Get any
and
coffee. They're all really, really good. Some are a little bit more earthy than others, but the descriptions are on the website. And if you are interested in something earthy or a little bit more caffeinated, we do have our Spacevidcast branded
Blast Off Blend. And you can get that by going to spacevidcast.com and click on the Blast Off Blend link. So that was this week's coffee of the month. That's
Can't wait
fantastic.
to see what next week's is.
Yeah, neither can. Northrop Grumman Lunar Lander Challenge is starting to heat up. Let's just get right into that, shall we?
Sure, let's go.
So, for those who don't know, the Northrop Grumman, there's a daily on this with some highly advanced graphics that we spent a lot of time and money on that talk about, you know, whatever. They talk about kind of the rules of the Northrop Grumman Lunar Lander Challenge. But basically, there are 2 levels, and there is a first and second place prize inside of each level.
Each level,
For
yes.
each level, yep. So there are 4 for all intents and purposes. Now, level 1. First place was won last year at the 2008 Northrop Grumman Lunar Lander Challenge by Armadillo Aerospace. And so that's done. They got that purse. We're good to go there.
Yep.
But that still means that level 1, second place, as well as the harder level 2, first and second place are up for grabs. And this past week, Armadillo it was this
the
last weekend. Yep, this past
Armadillo
weekend.
Aerospace on the 12th and 13th in Cato Mills, Texas, was going for level 2 because they've already won level 1, so why bother with
And
that
there's a
again?
good chunk more money in level 2. It's $1 million purse if you win first place on level 2.
Big. And the one thing to really, really note about this particular challenge in years past, this is the first year that it's different. In years past, everyone had to come to the same place at the same time and do their little schmoiky things.
Yep.
Right?
Schmoiky things.
Right.
Technical
Just
term.
like, Super Bowl, whatever.
Yeah.
This particular time, they're letting the teams compete wherever they want to compete.
But they have to follow there's a certain pad that they have to have.
Right.
And there's a certain distance. Level 1, Level 2 have different distances and different time that they have to be in the air. For Level 2, you have to be airborne for 180 seconds. And for each leg, here's the way it works. You go up, you go over, 50 meters? Up and over 50 meters.
I think you have to go up 50 and
Up,
over 60.
that's right. You have to go up 50 meters, at least 60 over, I think it
Correct.
is. And then land back again as close to center or close to the mark as you can on that pad. Then you have to refuel and reverse the process and go back to your original pad. And you've only got a couple hours to do this in.
2.5, I think it's 2.5 hours. It might be just under 2.5 hours. And the other thing to note is the 2.5 hours isn't just the flight time. Okay?
It's everything.
You have to start like a quarter mile away with everything down and cold, right? Drive up to the pad, set everything up, do the entire flight, one leg over, one leg back. Then, still within the 2.5 hours, you still have to get your vehicle onto a truck or whatever and come all the way back to the start line, which also is your finish line.
Yep.
You have to do all of that in the 2.5 hours.
And for those who aren't rocket enthusiasts, that may sound not that hard. Just fuel it up, go up, over, down, rinse and repeat, up, over, down, put it back on the truck and drive
you'd be
away.
surprised.
However, I don't believe even NASA's ever done that. I don't think they have a vehicle that they can relaunch just like that. And I was talking to a friend, he's like, well, yeah, but what about the original lunar landers? Well, they didn't work that way.
They landed.
They landed.
That's all they did.
Well, no, they had to lift back off, otherwise they'd just be stuck in the moon. But they landed, and then they separated, and there was an upper stage that lifted back off.
Well, I guess that's the way I was thinking about it.
So a little bit different. So we have got, for your viewing pleasure, the first, well, actually, it's going to be a total of 6 minutes. But here's the first 3-minute leg from Armadillo Aerospace. This is their first run over. Check it out. I don't know if you guys can hear me on top of the terribly loud rocket noise, but seriously, you could probably put a cup of coffee. Look at how stable that thing is. That's hovering on rocket power only.
These things are anywhere between 6 and 7 feet about, approximately. When you get like an average man standing next to it, that's about how far they look, or how big they look. And 50 meters in the air doesn't necessarily look like a lot per se, but when the camera kind of focuses a little bit better and you can see kind of the clouds in the background, you can get a little bit better idea of how far up this is.
It's pretty far.
It's pretty far up. It's a lot further than you think.
BZ, I think it's a little bit taller than 6 feet because when
this particular one, I think the original for the level 1 was 6 feet, but I think this one is taller.
Maybe about twice that height, maybe?
Not necessarily twice.
Approximately twice the fuel?
No,
Just
because
guessing?
the fuel is in the 2 little round tanks.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that the feet are any longer.
That's true, but the round tanks are going to be bigger.
Right.
Yeah, and everyone's talking in the chat room about John Carmack, and the reason they're bringing up the gaming is John Carmack used to own ID Software id, which did games. I believe it was like the original Doom.
Maybe you've heard of
Doom
per se.
So he made his millions doing that, and then he's like, I'm going to build rockets. And so he built rockets, and some of the original rockets he built used a gaming like a Microsoft gaming joystick controller to control the rocket, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can see, look at it. It looks like it's just floating there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just solid.
So solid.
You can put your, what was it talking about?
Sumatra?
You could put your Sumatra something on top of that. You know what else? You can put your blast off blend on top of that. You probably wouldn't spill a drop. Check out this.
I love this shot. I love this. Mobius, they only have to be concerned about tanking from the one pad to the next. Then, once they land, they re-tank and go back. So they don't have to worry so much about the fuel, burning up too much on one leg because it's basically allowed to do that.
Now here you're going to see it land, and they landed a little, I believe it was a little bit over a foot off the mark.
It was like 1.3 inches.
Which was, we thought, pretty accurate.
It looks pretty gosh darn accurate. And you can see on the pad how the pad is not flat. There's all those rocks. There's actually some craters as well to try and simulate the lunar surface as well as possible.
X-Prize!
And who gets fire duty? Actually, they do have firemen and fire trucks, very large fire trucks on site.
It was kind of cool last year because they had True Zeros went up and then went poof.
Yeah.
You're like, safety, safety, safety.
Right.
Like
and
Code Red.
Trucks were
run,
right
run.
there, and water and all that other stuff.
So that was leg one. Now what they have to do is they have to refuel and get it going and do the exact opposite thing and go back in the exact opposite direction. And once again, go 50 meters up, 60 over, or at least 60, and then 50 back down.
And still try and be in the middle.
Yep, as close to the mark as possible, and they still have to go up for 180 seconds. So here's the next leg of Armadillo Aerospace's level 2 attempt. I like how our graphic cuts that off right there.
Yeah. I know. That's really
$1
good.
million in these words here don't really.
And the other thing to note, I think Quantum G brought it up, was that they were having a bit of an issue with the joystick, essentially, with the controller. And so Carmack did some code. He changed the code during the downtime.
Right, so
in between flights, which are still, the clock is ticking. Keep this in mind.
He was
right?
reprogramming the vehicle to...
Reprogramming it on the fly, or not on the fly, but before they took off again, and then actually with the computer, with the arrows, was controlling the vehicle on the way back, which is huge. So if it looks a little bit more wobbly, that's basically why, because he's doing it like it's a freaking video game. Absolutely amazing.
Jump.
He's one of the only people who could do that, because he made code changes within the 2.5-hour time span. It's really impressive.
I think he cheated. He went left, right, up, down, A, B, A, B.
There is no God mode in this.
Exactly. Again, it's a very stable flight. I'm very, because when we saw this last year, the vehicles were not nearly this rock solid. They were all over the place. They were wobbling back and forth, and
Right, but it doesn't have to be solid. I mean, it's better for the controller, obviously, if it is more solid, et cetera, et cetera. But there's there aren't rules about how you have to keep it at a certain vertical, axis, blah blah blah.
Yeah, by the way, to terminate the engine, you have to hit Alt F4. That will turn off the engine.
Stop. The worst part is you're probably right.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
And that would be very cool.
Again, it's like it's photoshopped into the picture.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's just cool.
And also, the other thing I want to note really quickly is that these cameras are at least 200 feet away. 250, because that's the safety boundary. I think there's like 2 guys, and I think they're only firefighters that are allowed within that perimeter.
Isn't Pomerantz allowed?
Palm might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
You're calling him Palm now?
Pomerantz. Will Pomerantz of X-Prize Foundation.
Also known as my hero.
Yeah, he's awesome. Anyway, but so, yeah, it's everyone has to be about 250 meters, or not meters, feet away. So it's kind of crazy. It's so pretty.
Boom. There you go. There's a little over the 180-second requirement there.
Right, which is still okay. They have to do at least 180.
Yep. I kind of want that job.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a brush fire, but they got rid of that.
X Prize!
And yeah, the guys were so happy, so excited at that point because they really were very, very close to the center line or center mark. There's an X obviously there.
So someone has won level 2 of the Northrop Grumman Lunar Lander Challenge this year. Right. Someone has won it, but even though Armadillo did that, and they did, that fully qualified,
and
that is a winning entry,
amazing.
Well, qualifies to win. However, that doesn't necessarily mean they're the winner. As she said, they've spread this out, and I think the next attempt is Maston.
Yeah, actually Maston did have an attempt at the level 1 second place prize this week, the 15th and 16th. I'm sorry, the 16th and 17th. And they were doing it for level 1, so I just want to be very, very clear about this.
It's like half the flight time. And
right, it's only 90 seconds, et cetera, et cetera. So they're not, in this particular attempt, they're not going head-to-head with Armadillo on this one.
But you can get a pretty good idea as to how accurate they're going to be. Remember, yes. Armadillo was a little over a foot off. Check this out. Here's Maston's attempt.
Amazing. I love how they all have the X Prize on them.
They have to, actually. It's in the rules.
Is it really?
Yeah, they have to have the logo thing. Oh yeah, they all do.
Yeah, that one's definitely more than 6 feet tall.
I think they all are more than 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And this is their smaller vehicle. This is the one just for level 1. Now, this one's rock solid until they do that.
And then a little
yeah, your coffee spills at that point.
Yeah, it does a little, but you know, it's all right. Again, it doesn't have to be rock solid. It's obviously nicer and easier if it is. It's just, oh my goodness, it's so crazy.
It was a beautiful flight, straight up. Did a little dogleg maneuver to line up with the next pad and straight down to the next pad. Came down, did a little bit of hovering right above the pad and then landed. We have some engine issues. We thought we had them resolved. Apparently it showed up again. It's an intermittent issue with some cooling. The engine chamber didn't look like it was good enough to do the next flight completely without damaging the rest of the vehicle. So we just decided we've got some more dates already reserved for later Lunar Lander Challenge events, so we'll go ahead and use those to fly again when we have a better engine.
X Prize! I have to do it every time. X Prize!
We need glow sticks.
Oh, we do.
Don't we?
D-Generation X Prize! That's... Wow.
Wow, that's sad.
Well, there's that. You know, the Northrop Grumman Lunar Lander Challenge is still going on, and they were very close to the mark. They were only
19.7 centimeters, which is just under 8 inches.
So they were more accurate than Armadillo. Now, this is their
Armadillo
smaller vehicle.
was 15 inches away, and Maston was just about half.
And in October, Maston's going to attempt that level 2 prize.
Yep.
So I believe they're still going to try for level 1 second place, and they're going to try for level 2 first place.
Yep.
They have the ability to beat Armadillo.
Yes,
well, they have the chance, at least. They have a chance at beating Armadillo, and they're a pretty good contender at this point. So,
so awesome.
This competition is
so
really heating up this year. This is the year. It's just epic, is what it is. Epically awesome.
The other really kind of sort of interesting thing, I think, is that Maston has a 2-day attempt. Every attempt is 2 days. Has a 2-day attempt, the 7th and 8th of October, and then the 28th and 29th of October. October 31st is the very last day anyone can make an attempt, and Unreasonable Rocket took October 30th and 31st. So this really is going to come down to the wire. Absolutely.
Yep.
Amazing.
It's pretty cool stuff.
It's very cool.
So we're gonna try to broadcast one of them because they're all over the country this year.
Yep.
it's much harder for us. I can't take off that much work.
Right, well that, and they're in the middle of nowhere.
Right,
okay?
so
there's no Wi-Fi, there's no internet, there's no nothing.
It would cost a fantastic amount of money to actually fly everywhere to make that happen.
Right.
But we're going to try to bring you some of it live, at least, if we're able to. No guarantees. So you can watch some of this actually live on the internet. Otherwise, go back to Spacevidcast. We did a couple dailies on both these episodes. You can get the actual coverage and all the rules and the highly advanced graphics right there at spacevidcast.com. And that is our show for this week. We'd like to thank you all for joining us live. You can join us live every Friday at 2 o'clock a.m. Coordinated Universal Time. For those of you in the United States, that's 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time, 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday nights. And thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll hope to see you soon. Check out our dailies. Oh, one last thing before we go really quick. For those of you who happen to have the new Zune HD, I did this in pre-show, but now I'm going to do it on the actual show.
Yay.
You can get our podcasts in high definition on the Zune HD. Look, there's some NGLLC
that
coverage right
cool.
there.
I mean,
so
I'll
you can
give
get
that to you.
You can get on your Zune HD, you can get it on your iPod, your iPhone, and your Apple TV. Right there on the Spacevidcast on the right-hand side, it gives you all the links on how to do that. Although the Zune one, I think you have to manually enter in, but we're getting there.
Anyway.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. See you next week.